Robin, owner of Lilylane Decor and Design, and I'm here to show you some instructions on using some of our DIY kits. So we have lots of DIY materials available. The one that I'm going to be walking you through today is stenciling on fabric. So that could be a kit to make a decor pillow, or a kit to do a t-shirt, or there are other fabrics that you could stencil on as well, a table runner, etc. So the process is pretty simple. This is the quickest kit that we offer because there's no prep ahead of time. You're just going to take a piece of fabric, stencil right on it, allow it to dry, and you'll have a finished product. So if you were buying a kit, say for a pillow, there's an insert, you're going to remove the insert before you start to stencil. So just take this out so you're stenciling on the flat pillowcase. In this case, the one I'm going to walk you through today is a t-shirt. So if you get the kit, so this is a kit for a pillow, so it's got a little card on the front that just tells you what's in the kit and gives you a link to our YouTube channel so you can come check out the videos to walk you through it. On that card it's going to tell you what colors you have, so if you want to reorder again, you know what colors to ask for. There's some paint and your stencil, so that's what would be included, as well as sponges, and there's a jumbo popsicle stick that you can use for your burnishing tool. If you have a credit card, or if you have a proper burnishing tool, you can use those too. So anyways, we're going to work on this t-shirt here. I am going to just reach over here and grab my paint and get well set up here. So first of all, I'm going to take my burnishing tool, I'm going to rub my whole stencil. Your stencil will either be covered in a clear, or in this case, an opaque. So this is, you can see through it. The video is not picking it up very well, but you can see through that tape. It's more like a masking tape sort of a look. So anyways, we're going to rub that whole stencil. Sometimes it helps not to do it on the fabric. Rub that whole stencil down. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my backing paper. This here. So removing that backing paper from my stencil. This is usually the trickiest part. This can be trickier depending on the weather. So some weather will make your stencil easier or harder to transfer. So hot and humid can make it a little trickier. Usually I pull this off ahead of time. This was an order that I was going to work on for myself, so I didn't do that. But on the ones that you buy from us, they'll all be rectangular shaped or circle shaped if it's going on a circular object. That way you'll be able to line the edges of your stencil up with the edges of whatever you're putting it on to get it nice and straight. So there's my stencil. It's adhesive on the back side, so I'm going to put it, line it up on my shirt the way I like it. Once I'm happy with the positioning, I'm going to lay it down, press it, making sure that my shirt is nice and smooth. Then I'm going to take that burnishing tool again, rub the whole thing, then remove my transfer tape. Okay, so again, this can be the section that people find the most challenging. So I'm just making sure that all those little bits stay stuck down. If they come up, I just push them down with my finger. I roll my transfer tape right back onto itself, so the pressure of my hand is helping to make sure that the vinyl adheres to my garment. Okay, fabric does tend to be one of the trickier things to transfer to, so wood tends to be a little easier. There we go. Okay, and for those of you, if you're working along on a project, feel free to pause the video, because depending on the size of your project and the complexity of the design, it may take you more or less time to transfer it. So that's why we want to make these videos. That way you can work along at your own pace in the comfort of your own home. There we go. Okay, so that's all transferred over. Now when we are working with fabric, what I usually do is I take my backing paper and I just slide it in between the layers of my fabric so that no paint bleeds through to the other side. We don't want to design on the back of this t-shirt as well. There we go. Got it all lined up. It's under there. Next I'm going to take my paint. I'm going to give it a little bit of a shake if it's settled. I'm going to open it up. You will find little makeup sponges included in your kit. If you've watched our other videos where I'm doing orders, I'm often using a roller, and a roller will work as well. It's just not practical to include in a small kit like this. So we've included foam sponges. You want to make sure that you have very, very minimal paint on your sponge. Less is more. You're going to take the paint and you can dab it off on a surface. In this case, I'm just using the discarded transfer tape that I just took off. And then I'm going to dab it onto my article of fabric here. If I don't like the coverage I get the first time, I'll come back and do a second or a third coat until I get the coverage that I like, versus one thick coat, which can cause bleeding. And that's where the paint just escapes under the stencil into other areas of your item. So as I said, the fabric kits are probably the quickest and the easiest kits to complete because there's no prep ahead of your stenciling. So you're just going right to the stenciling step when you're doing a fabric kit. For some of the other wooden kits that we offer, you have to paint the base coat ahead of time, allow it to dry, and come back to do your stenciling. So I'll continue to apply the paint until I've covered my entire design. In this case, this design is quite small, so it shouldn't take too much time at all. I'm just going to continue to apply. If you've not yet purchased a design kit, we sell our kits as a complete kit. So that's your base, so that could be a piece of fabric, a fabric garment, or a pillow, etc., as well as the stencil, paint, sponges, all together. You can also purchase individual parts of that kit. So maybe you already have a place that you like to get your clothing from, and they have solid colored t-shirts or tank tops or other items, and you just want a stencil and some paint, or maybe you do some of your own woodworking and you need a stencil, or vice versa. Maybe you own a small cutting machine, a Cricut or a Silhouette. You make your own stencils, but you don't have the tools to do the woodworking portion, or don't have the desire to purchase wholesale pillows in bulk, etc. So if you are looking for any of those items, you can buy them a la carte, so as individual items from us as well. So there, I've gone over my whole design there. I do have a little bit of paint on my finger, which you have to be really careful of when you're working with fabric. So with your wooden items, if you get a little paint someplace it shouldn't be, you can take a baby wipe and just quickly wipe it off. With fabric, it's a lot more tricky because you can't always get it out. And this this particular paint that we're using here is fabric safe, so it can be, after this dries, you just wash as the clothing, whatever the label on the clothing says. So I'm just looking here. I think I actually want to put another coat of paint on this. What I often encourage people to do is, as you're painting, if you aren't sure if you like the coverage that you've gotten, just peel up a corner of your stencil, check and see if the design shows up in the way you want. If it doesn't, if it's not dark enough, not opaque enough for you, then just go back and go over it again. It's much better to do that than to have paint bleeds at the end. They're impossible to get out in a fabric situation, and they're certainly time-consuming and difficult to get out with a wood item. Almost done here. If you're not sure about the designs that we offer, you can go to our Facebook page, Lilylane Decor and Design, and look through the albums, and you'll find some albums of the graphic design work that we have available. We also do custom design work, so if you don't see what you're looking for, we can probably create something for you. And there. Again, I'm just going to check and make sure that my fingers don't have any wet paint on them before I go ahead and peel this stencil up. And with fabric, if I wasn't doing this as a demonstration, I would probably wait for the paint to dry. Again, just giving less of a chance that I get paint someplace I don't want it to. So if you're at home working on this sort of a project, it's fine with fabric to wait for that paint to dry completely before you remove your stencil. But I want you guys to be able to see how that looks. There we go. This one says, wake up, drink coffee, hug dog, repeat. Okay, and your stencil is going to rip into a lot of little pieces. People often ask if they can reuse the stencil. I have yet to see a way that that's going to work with these vinyl stencils. And the vinyl that I usually provide for the clothing is quite sticky because otherwise it won't adhere to the fabric. Okay, so just keep going, pulling the vinyl off until there isn't vinyl left there anymore. Often for the little centers of the letters, I'll get a little knife or even a toothpick and pick those out, which I didn't bring with me today. So anyways, that's the basic idea. Allow it to dry, follow the washing instructions on the fabric item, and you're good to go. All right, you do want to, before your first wash, I would allow to dry 10 days or heat set with an iron. Hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.